Welcome back, everybody. Holiday Doc here with the second part of my video series, the transition to competitive play. You know, we're trying to breathe some life back into your Modern Warfare 2 experience the last couple months before, or last month rather, before Black Ops comes out. So, you know, why not take this time and try to make that competitive push, or at least start building your team? And that's what we're going to be talking about today. In the background, a little visual entertainment for yourself, demo on Scrapyard, some hardcore settings, just because we are practicing for the MLG settings on the hardcore ladder for playoffs, and it's a little different. I explained it in my last video, so hopefully you all know what that's about. You know, I dropped a good KD here, 57 and 36 over 3 rounds. Not too bad, considering I usually am the objective player. Choosing to go with more of a Slayer role on this game type, but less about the video, more about the topic at hand. What is the most requested topic about forming a team and how to do it properly? Well, both those things are the most requested topics, just because, you know, anytime somebody contacts me asking about game battles, you know, I give them a little bit of info, but I always felt like I needed to make a series or at least a group of videos to help people make that transition. I'm all about educating people into the competitive world, and I think it'll just bring more and more to the scene the more and more teams and players we get involved. So that's why I do it. I have a very big passion and love for the competitive scene. I love everything about it. It's just always been in my blood. I've been doing it for 8 years, so I think I have a little bit to offer new teams that are trying to get into it. You know, let's talk about it. What are the most common mistakes when forming a team? Well, when you talk about mistakes, you know, usually people choose the wrong players for the team, just wrong age groups. So when forming a team, here's some things to really look out for. Anyone can make a team, but keeping it together is the hardest part. Things like age, location, time zone, your other priorities outside of gaming, and even your interest level in the gameplay plays a huge part on developing your team. You know, it's not just about a team, it's about making a successful franchise. That's what I try to create and develop when I made my team, the New Breed. And we've been around a long time, primarily with almost the same amount of members, or rather, same members from the start. You know, we've had a little bit of swap outs here and there, but I've had some really dedicated people. Midget, Blackout are two of the greatest guys you could ever ask to get on your team, because, you know, they're dedicated and they're loyal to everything you're here to offer. You know, we've got some new guys this season, and they're hopefully here going to stick it out with us as we move along to the Black Ops competitive field, and time will tell. But things when I look for in making the team is, like I just said, your age. You know, keeping in mind that like-minded people tend to have more in common. You know, having a group of 25-year-olds mixed with a 14-year-old, you know, the 14-year-old is going to feel kind of out of place. It's not really going to vibe well. It's going to be difficult. You know, keep your guys all in the same kind of grouping. It makes for a much more successful and a much liked environment, opposed to, you know, having everybody just all over the place. The more you have in common, the more chances you're going to have a successful team. Your time zone. This is a personal issue with myself, just because I am Mountain Time, that is on the West Coast area. You know, I'm going to be 2 hours behind all my buddies on the East Coast. So you need to prepare for that and just let everybody know that, hey, you know, I don't get on till a little bit later. You know, make sure everybody's aware of that. Your scheduling is the second most important thing to running a successful team. I know this because I have done and I've made my own mistakes, and I've learned from them, hopefully, and try to build on that. You know, what else? You know, time zone, you know, same thing. Priorities and interest in the gameplay. This is a big one. Because anytime you're going to make a team, you all need to be under the same understanding that, hey, you know, I want to make a team semi-successful, but I'm not here to dedicate, you know, a full-time job to the game. Not everybody is here to put in 40 hours a week onto your team and onto competitive gaming, especially on a game that, you know, may not, you know, have the benefits or the payouts that you're looking for. You know, some teams, you're going to start a team, right? You don't want to push for gold right off the start. It's a unlikely goal. You don't want to get frustrated. So my advice to you, especially if this is your first time getting into competitive play, is to start low. You know, find guys that, you know, are interested in making that move to competitive play, that are mostly used to public rooms, and that are just looking for a feel. You know, dedicate 15 hours a week minimum to making those practices, those scrims, and the ladder play. just get your feet wet kind of thing, and then move up from there if need be. Make sure you're looking for guys that are all on the same level. You don't want to have, 3 guys that are looking for 15 hours and then one guy who wants, the maximum, the 40 hours a week, wants to be playing every day, 4 or 5 matches a day. Obviously, he's going to get frustrated and he's going to leave. Once again, personal experience. These are all things that I've learned and dealt with before. So this is why I'm trying to help everybody out. I've done things wrong and, hopefully able to build on them and make more successful choices as I move on to Black Ops. What else? Well, you're going to look for potential people to play with you. Tryouts are a whole different story, and I'm going to save that video for next time, just because there's so many things to cover when trying people out, or even doing tryouts in general. So we're going to skip that part, and we're going to go to your interest in the game. Now, you might get a bunch of people on your team, or looking for a team, but might not be that fully interested in the game. You might take the competitive level fairly serious, but guys you're recruiting or potentially recruiting, might, not that serious. They don't get into it as much as you do. So these are things you really need to look at when building your team. I'm going to have to cut this video into probably 2 parts just because it is such a long game and, big topic. Hopefully I'm not boring you guys. This is something that a lot of you have really wanted me to touch on and talk about, so hopefully I'm able to give you guys everything you're looking for. If I do miss anything, feel free to drop a comment or a question, email, anything. I'm here to help you guys out. Don't have a lot to do in the last couple weeks here before Blackouts. I keep getting confused. I think Blackouts is so far away, but it's really not. November 9th is not that far, and chances are the game's going to come quite a bit earlier anyways. Who knows, though. Back into the topics. So, once you get a generalized idea of what you're looking for, you're going to start a semi-serious, you're just making that transition. So you're going to start, hey, I'm going to look for, 15 to 20 hours a week kind of guys, maybe even friends I already play with. And then slowly start to make the move. You need to think about more than just, your teammates. You need to think about your leadership role as yourself. A lot of leaders are talking to me as well, that they're looking for teammates, but they need advice on leading the team. So here's my advice to you. Never leave anything up to your members. Always take charge. Do the schedule yourself. Get in touch with everybody and anybody you can. Also, get proof or the ability to take proof yourself. Don't rely on anybody else to go out and buy a capture card when that's going to be your primary role, your job. That you're the leader. You need to take charge on all the matters that need taking. Proof is the biggest thing when you talk about competitive play, at least on game battles. Some other sites are not so bad, but game battles, everybody disputes. So you need to be able to back up every game you play in. There's nothing more frustrating than starting out as a new team, playing your first game, and being unaware that everybody will dispute you at any chance they can get. Okay? So, as a leader, you need the ability to take and get proof. You also need to know about the various different websites you're looking to compete on. There's a lot of websites out there. My personal favorite is Game Battles, just because it's so large, very easy to get a match, get going, and just have fun in general. You need to know the rules. Make sure that you're not relying on anybody else. You're not relying on word of mouth of rules and how to set up the games. Go out there and read the material yourself. Get familiar with the game types, how to set up the games, and all the various rules involved when you're talking about your game types and stuff like that. Now, branching on to game types. Anytime you start a new team, you need to be aware that, there's overrides and there's non-overrides. But I'm going to cut it now. We're going to move to the second half. And, in the second half of this video, we're going to be talking about how to, evaluate what kind of game types you're going to get into. Because it's a big transition from competitive to public. There's a big stepping stone in my opinion. So there's a lot of things to really look out for. So that's what we'll be covering on the second half of this video. See you on the other side.